Yuki Tsunoda recently had his first contact with Red Bull's latest car through the simulator, and the Japanese driver's comments suggest a very positive experience. For fans of the Austrian team, these words are encouraging, especially given how much Max Verstappen demands from the front of the car. Tsunoda seems to have handled this aspect quite well, which is impressive in itself. However, since Liam Lawson had only 2 chances before being replaced, the big question now is, does Tsunoda have what it takes to prove that it is the driver, not just the car, that makes the real difference? And perhaps more importantly, will he be the chosen one to take over Red Bull's second seat after the end of the 2025 season? There's a lot of anticipation surrounding his debut in the main car, particularly because it will happen on home soil. The setting is the legendary Suzuka circuit, and the timing couldn't be more symbolic. It marks the final race of the official partnership between Honda and Red Bull, celebrated with a special white livery. A strong result from Tsunoda in front of his home crowd would not only be emotionally significant, but also strategically important, solidifying his image as a reliable asset for the team. Red Bull needs 2 drivers capable of delivering accurate feedback on the car's behavior, helping to build a strong foundation for development throughout the season. In recent statements, Tsunoda spoke about how it felt to drive the current Red Bull car, even though all his experience so far has been in a simulated environment. According to him, the handling was not as difficult as expected, though he admitted that his ideal car setup differs from the one used by Max Verstappen. He also mentioned that nothing seemed particularly odd or uncomfortable during the sessions, suggesting a smooth adaptation. Yuki believes his idea of what a competitive car should feel like is not the same as Max's. His initial plan is to fully understand the Red Bull machinery and then shape it around his driving style. He recalled that last year's model felt somewhat aggressive, but even then, he was able to handle it with confidence, which gives him reason to believe that this new car suits him better. After spending about 2 days on the simulator, Tsunoda was left with a clear impression that the front end is highly responsive, just as many had previously described. What's interesting is that these insights come from someone who hasn't even completed a single real lap in the car. Still, his words carry a level of confidence that can't be dismissed. Tsunoda is well aware of the pressure that comes with such an opportunity, especially in a highly competitive environment where chances are limited and expectations are sky-high. Helmut Marko, one of Red Bull's key figures, has stated that the driver will be carefully evaluated throughout this season. The team needs someone with consistency and experience to help shape a competitive car. However, if Yuki performs similarly to Lawson, it could indicate that Red Bull is giving up on the title race far too early. To avoid that scenario, Marko has already mentioned that Tsunoda's car will be set up with a less extreme configuration compared to Verstappen. The goal is to make the car more forgiving and easier to handle. Many fans have asked why this more conservative approach wasn't used with Lawson. According to sources within the team, the feedback from the New Zealander was disappointing. The team expected clearer insights into the car's behavior, and Lawson's lack of understanding sealed his fate. When a team decides to replace a driver after just 2 races, it's usually a sign of deeper problems that cannot be fixed with minor tweaks. On the other hand, motivation is something Tsunoda has in abundance right now. He has been quite vocal in saying that he needs to be at his absolute best if he wants to secure a long-term seat at Red Bull. The recent history of that second seat is far from encouraging. Since Daniel Ricciardo's departure, no one has been able to hold on to the spot for very long. In fact, Liam Lawson had the most starts in that role among the recent replacements, surpassing the previous record held by Robert Dornbos, who raced in only 3 Grands Prix back in 2006. Nonetheless, Tsunoda appears to be in the strongest moment of his career so far. He is already in his 5th season in Formula 1, and Helmut Marko has been praising his recent performance in the last few races. If it weren't for poor strategic decisions by the VCARB team, Yuki could have scored a solid amount of points and pushed his team higher in the midfield standing. Now that he has been promoted to Red Bull, his attention is entirely focused on a new chapter. Commenting on Yuki's evolution, Marko admitted that he once saw the Japanese driver as immature and prone to mistakes, but that perception has changed drastically. According to Marko, Tsunoda reorganized his professional approach, and is now delivering consistent results. He believes this is Yuki's best form yet, and that the driver has made a significant leap in quality this year. Tsunoda seems calmer, more efficient, and more focused than ever before. Even so, it's important to highlight Max Verstappen's dissatisfaction with Red Bull's recent decision. The four-time world champion believes there's still a lot of untapped potential in the current car, and that, with proper upgrades, the second driver would naturally feel more at ease behind the wheel. Despite Max's opinion, Red Bull decided to move on from Lawson and put their faith in Tsunoda. Helmut Marko stated that although he understands Max's frustration, the team must focus on having two competitive cars on the grid. This is not only vital for the Constructors' Championship, but also crucial to help Max secure his fifth world title. Expectations are high to see a new version of Yuki this season. He has made fewer mistakes, shown impressive pace, has new management around him, and appears more confident than ever. However, promoting Tsunoda doesn't instantly solve all the team's issues. He still needs to prove that his steady improvement over the years wasn't overlooked, and that he should have been in this role much earlier. That said, since Max requires a very specific setup to match his driving style, there's no doubt that future updates may present a challenge for Yuki to adjust accordingly. Another controversial question has surfaced. Did Honda have any influence on Tsunoda's promotion to Red Bull? Previously, Yuki himself had suggested that Lawson's promotion was a political decision, which put both Red Bull and Liam in a tough spot to prove otherwise. In the end, that attempt didn't pan out, and now it's up to Tsunoda to show that raw talent still matters, and that poor results shouldn't be blamed solely on the car. Whatever the case may be, Red Bull has a long road ahead. Under unusual circumstances, Tsunoda and the Faenza team have become central pieces in this new journey that begins in Japan. The team's main goal is to understand the current car's foundation, and then introduce updates to make it more manageable for all drivers. That won't be possible if the factory engineers don't have clear data on where to extract performance. This is why the departure of key figures like Adrian Newey and Rob Marshall is having a lasting effect, something Helmut Marko has openly acknowledged. He even mentioned that ever since Rob Marshall joined McLaren, the British team has been improving steadily, while Red Bull started showing signs of regression. An interesting fact is that Red Bull is placing a lot of trust in Tsunoda to deliver valuable feedback to the engineers. This becomes even more significant considering Max Verstappen's current situation. There's a clause in his contract that allows him to leave if certain performance thresholds are not met, and the team has until the summer break to fix what's broken and convince their star driver to stay. Marko emphasized that the team's focus is on helping Max win his fifth world championship, and that the necessary upgrades are being worked on to achieve that. Of course, top-tier drivers usually have exit clauses in their contracts if performance drops, but each case is handled differently. Right now, this is not an active topic. It's important to remember that the team currently holds second place in the standings, only 8 points behind the leader, and the summer break is still a few races away. Yes, if Max decides to leave, that could also be a reason for other key members of the team to consider stepping away. So with all of this in mind, do you believe Red Bull can make significant progress with Tsunoda as their second driver? And more importantly, how do you think this chapter will end for Yuki? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and once you've done that, don't forget to watch the video that's appearing on your screen right now.